and welcome back to the Villa View. A bit of post-match reaction to the derby game from us today. We sent Villa fan John Insley along to record some footage for us, but unfortunately due to some technical difficulties and a few beers, I think, we haven't come out with quite the footage that we were looking for, but thanks to John anyway for going along for us. So stay tuned for that footage and also some of your tweets and my reaction to the game. That's another performance that I'm actually quite encouraged by. I mean, people will look at the fact that we've not won the game, but 0-0 at Derby might be a decent result come the end of the season, because I'd expect them to be milling around the top six with us. It's a tough place to go. Nigel Pearson's obviously gone there and he's tried to solidify them a bit, and he's obviously done that. They've had a couple of 0-0s at home now. I mean, the first half, I thought we were brilliant again. I mean, you consider we were missing Tishbola and we're also missing Jedinak, who's not cleared to play yet. I thought that's a decent performance. Some of the pluses for me are the fact that we dominated the first half, but obviously a bit of a negative is the fact that we didn't score. A bit like Huddersfield, we didn't really capitalise on all our chances, which obviously is going to be expected at some points. I thought McCormack was very unlucky with his shot off the bar. Scott Carson actually made a decent save, which is more than he ever did when he was playing for us. And Gary Gardner obviously had his speculative shot as well that hit the post. So I think one of the main ingredients that we are missing at the moment is that luck factor. We don't seem to be getting a lot of good luck. I think if you'd have said to me at the start of the season that we'd have only conceded 2 goals out of 4 games, I'd have been really pleased. I mean, and if you look at the goals that we did concede as well, they were an absolute joke. So I think Di Matteo needs to take a lot of credit for the way he's solided us up at the back. I mean, I think you'll struggle to see a better centre-back partnership in this league than James Chester and Tommy Elphick. I mean, I've spoke about Elphick before, waxed lyrical about him. He was just the perfect first signing, and he showed today again what he's all about. He is a real leader, and I pray that he can stay fit for the whole season. And I thought James Chester was immense as well at the back when he needed to be as well. I mean, I think it's a sign of a good player when you've had minimal time at your club and you look like you've been there your whole life, and that's what it looks like with James Chester. I think Bacuna and Sissoko deserve some credit as well, because they've been very good at fullback. I mean, Bacuna's turned me around. He's been putting in some good performances, and I've got the Leandro Bacuna of the 2015-16 season was an absolute disgrace, but I'm prepared to forget that, because the Leandro Bacuna of the 2016-17 season has been very good. And I think Sissoko took a lot of stick in the first game against Sheffield Wednesday, but I think he's done a good job since then as well. And I think sometimes if we are going to play Grealish on the left, then maybe it is a good idea to have that more defensive-minded fullback behind him. I think Westwood and Gardner probably are too similar, but I don't think they did too much wrong. I mean, Gardner gave the ball away a bit more than I'd like, but that isn't going to be the starting central midfield. I mean, I would start with Westwood personally, but then I'm not sure that I'd leave out Tishabola or Jedinak when they're fit and available either, so that's going to be a difficult team selection for Di Matteo. I thought Ayew tried hard on the wing. He's huffing and puffing a bit at the moment, but I think once he gets a goal, and you've got to remember he's playing out of position as well, I think he will come good for us and be a very good player at this level. We lost it a bit with Gusted going off. I mean, Kozak clearly was not match fit, but kind of wonder why Hepburn Murphy hasn't been involved on the bench, because I think he would have been a decent option to come off the bench with some pace. Kozak looked absolutely knackered by the time he'd come off, and he played nowhere near a full game. And I thought, as I've mentioned, McCormack, he was very unlucky. And I mean, I think you've got to mention Galini as well. I mean, he has made a couple of errors in some people's eyes. I mean, for me, he's just been very, very unlucky. But he was solid today. Not called upon too many times, but when he was called upon, I think he did well. I mean, I think we're heading in the right direction. You've got to remember, we haven't bought everyone that we're going to bring in at the moment as well. There's going to be at least 2 players coming in, and I think when we get those new players in, we'll have more of an idea about where we're going to be this season. But as it stands, I see no reason why we can't be challenging for that top 6, maybe even for that top 2 with a couple of good additions. We're heading in the right direction. Di Matteo's doing a brilliant job, and you could just see today a 0-0 anywhere was unthinkable last season, because we simply would not have kept clean sheets. But we're more of a unit now, we're a cohesive unit, and I'm encouraged by what I'm seeing. And I think if we go to Bristol City on Saturday, we can be very confident of coming away from there with 3 points. I think if you've got a team that's capable of keeping clean sheets, which I now think we have got, and with the options we've got going forward as well, I think we can always nick a goal. I think we've just got to be a bit more clinical. That's my only criticism of the team so far. When we have had good pressure, which has happened a few times now, we've not turned that pressure into goals. We need to be more clinical in front of goal, and I think as the season goes on, that kind of thing will click and we will get better. But that is not a bad point at all. I was encouraged by the performance. There's things we can improve on, yes, but there's been so many improvements from last season already. You look at the teams we've played, Sheffield Wednesday, Huddersfield and Derby, and no mugs, and we beat Rotherham comfortably at home. I think the performances have warranted more than 5 points, but 5 points is far from a disaster at this stage of the season with the opposition we face. So I think we can let the good times roll. I think there's going to be some good times ahead for us, and I'm encouraged. That's it from us today. We've tried to do something a little different. Do let us know what you thought below. Remember to follow us on all our social media channels. We love interacting with you. We love hearing from you, and thanks again. Also, we've just hit 3k subs. Remember, if you don't subscribe to us, please do. We've got a competition that's coming up imminently when I remember to do the video. And hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks a lot.
I think the past few years has been so disjointed. It just looks like 11 people have won a raffle ticket and been sent out onto a field of play, and it's just been so disjointed that actually we look like a Villa of old, passing a ball, moving it. We look threatening up front.